Welcome back everyone to another drawing video here on Art a la Carte. And I have a guest art supply. It's my Captain America eraser. I don't think I could ever erase with him because he is so cute. He even had this little shield. Though he's heavy, so I probably won't draw with him, but I wanted to show him to you. He is so cute. Anyway, today's video is how to draw a donkey. Now donkeys are similar obviously to the horse family, but their proportions are a little bit different. For this video also I'm using a 4B pencil, so it's going to be nice and dark so you guys can see what's going on. Let's start off with the head, and we're going to build in the proportions first, and then we'll go back and add the details. So I'm going to start off with a nice circle shape for the kind of forehead cheek of the donkey. Raise that up so you can see it all. And then I'm going to bring, it's kind of going to be a 3/4 angle, so I'm going to go from the middle of the circle, and I'm going to bring a line straight down. This is going to be for his muzzle. Now donkeys' heads are usually pretty large in comparison to their entire body, so I'm going to draw his muzzle. And I'm going to put a cross mark up here, and this is where his eyes are going to go. So he has a rather large forehead, and then his eyes will be placed out there. And then his face kind of comes into a really kind of a long, narrow face. And then for his muzzle, kind of come up for his bushy forehead, his cheek coming down here, and then going down into his muzzle. I'm not going to worry about his ears right now either. I'm going to not worry about his neck for right now. I will draw that in a second, but I'm going to put my 3 circles in for his body. And normally with a horse body, I would take and draw a large circle for the chest and a large circle for the rump, and then a half circle shape overlapped for the barrel of the horse. But the donkey is kind of opposite. He has almost a half circle, I'm going to use an oval shape for his chest, and then a large circle for the barrel. He just has this huge rib cage and the stomach, and then a half circle for his rump area. So kind of opposite of the horse. Same shapes, but instead of having 2 large circles here and half a circle here, he has 2 half circles and then a large circle. His neck is also much shorter than a horse. I'm going to have that come on down to his chest, and it comes down about halfway down the circle. And then the top of his neck kind of comes down and kind of comes over this half circle and kind of comes right into the back. And the back is very straight. They've got super strong backs. They can just carry just about anything. And you'll notice again, I'm doing my sketching. I'm not drawing my straight line all the way through. I'm just very lightly moving my pencil across the paper to get just the right angle that I want. So I'll go back and clean up all these lines later. I had some people ask me, can they draw pictures without making all these lines? Of course you can. Will it look good? It could. I've seen some artists who can just take and just, you know, kind of photocopy. And I used to hate putting all these little circles in there because that didn't make sense to me until I figured out that these are actually part of the drawing. You have to see these inside what you're drawing. I say as long as you're drawing, that's awesome. And if you want to improve your drawing, try different techniques out and give it a couple of drawings to figure it out. Don't just try a technique and go, oh, it didn't work for me and I'm not going to try that anymore. But try it 10, 20, 30 times and see if that works. And then if it doesn't work, you know, move on to something else. But then come back to it a couple years later. You might be to a point now in your art where you understand that. But I say the most important thing is that people are drawing. Alright, so we have his strong back, and I'm going to go ahead and put in his legs. Now his legs in proportion to his body are much shorter. Usually for a horse, we'd have them coming way down off the paper. Get him in there. But for him, I'm going to draw him kind of stick form. I'm going to bring it down here, and just almost right away, I have a little bit of space. Right away, I'm going to put in a large circle for his knees. And they have really big knees. And then put the rest of his leg, and that's going to be shorter distance than from here. And that's going to go right into his little hoof. Okay. And then I'll flush this out a little bit. Get a little bit more muscle towards the top of his leg, coming down into his knees, and then it really divots in after that knee bone. So it gets a lot thinner after the knee. It gets much thinner. And I'm going to bring that down to his little hoof. Okay. And then I'll have his other leg coming in just a little bit behind. Because it's farther up, it's going to be just sits up a little bit higher on the paper to show a little bit of distance. You don't want to have them coming down at the same level. Okay. And then we'll go back here for his back leg. I'm going to start over here where there's the hip bone to be here. So it comes down from his hip bone to his knee, back to his back hock, down here, and then down to his hoof there. We'll flush that out a little bit. So it's a little bit thicker here towards the top, and then as it comes around towards the back of the hock there, it thins out a little bit. And then kind of comes down right there. And then we'll bring this leg forward just a little bit. Loud car. And we'll put in his knee and down to, well, that's his knee, back hock. Anyway, and his hoof. Okay, so then we go and do the barrel of the donkey, which really we're going to follow this line here. We're going to have it come off the bottom of his chest, coming right down to the barrel, sweeping around, and then goes up into the flank. Nice round roly-poly little donkey. And then we'll put his little tail here, which isn't like a horse. It's kind of his really good tailbone, and then kind of branches off into a little bit of tail hair. I can't talk today. Alright, so then the last thing is his cute little donkey ears. Okay, so his little ears, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to have that little kind of arch, but it's going to come up much higher than a horse would. And I'm going to just fill those out. And they don't come to the little perky point that some horse breeds do. They just kind of round up at the top. And then they're very fuzzy inside, so I just kind of put a little zigzaggy line up the middle, kind of gives them that fuzziness. And then of course then he has this great little punk rock mane. Now this shape here also very easy to turn into a zebra at this point. They're kind of built very similarly the same. Alright, so now that we have him blocked in, I'm going to take my eraser, ta-da, and I'm going to clean up some of these lines and just fix anything I need to fix. Okay, so I have all of my lines erased. Now I can go back in and just fix up any lines that I didn't want to erase, that I accidentally erased. And as I do this, I'm going to start making some kind of jaggy marks because I want him to be kind of a furry and fluffy. So I'm going to just make some nice little lines out here. And as I come down the muzzle, about halfway I'm going to stop because his fur gets really short when it gets to the muzzle. So it's really fluffy here and then gets short. And same thing over here. I'm going to give him some nice fluffy cheek and coming down, and it's going to stop. I'm going to put his eye in, and I'm just going to really darken his eye in. So that nice almond shape, and I might put a little circle for a shine, and then I'm just going to color all the way around it. And for this side I'm just going to put just a little hint of an eye, and maybe some little bit of eyelashes. They have these great eyelashes, they're so cute. Then as I come down here for the muzzle, put an indentation for each nostril. Nice kind of like a little teardrop shape for that muzzle. And a sweet little gentle mouth. They have such sweet mouths. Unless they're trying to bite you. I guess that's not so sweet. Now I'm going to go ahead and just make some indications of where the long fur stops. And they almost do have that just, well, on some breeds. Depends on how long their fur is, if they have a winter coat or a summer coat. But you almost can see the difference where it comes long, 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 short. So you can actually kind of do that. And I'll add a little bit of shading with my pencil. I'll just run that around there. And And he has kind of a little bit of a pattern around his eye. And then of course his cute little punk rock mane. Just have a little bit of that there. And define nicely around his ears, some nice dark, because they're really dark around the rims of their ears. And then just add a little bit extra fluff in there. Okay, and then we'll come down on his neck. And again, I'll just continue to use these little jaggy lines as I go all the way around my donkey. Okay, then you'll notice that as I get down towards his legs, I'm going to thin the fur out. It's going to get a little bit finer, so I won't put as many jaggy lines there. So there we have the outline of our donkey done a little bit. I'm going to darken in his punk rock mane just a little bit. And then I'm going to give you a quick guide to doing some shading here. So remember, when you draw something a little bit darker, it's going to push things back on your drawing. And where things are lighter, it's going to pull things forward. So because I want this head to kind of stick out a little bit further from his neck, I'm going to add a little bit of shading down here. And you always want to start light with your shading. You can always get darker, and it's always a little bit harder to erase than it is to add. So just start darker. I'm even add a little bit of shading here on his face, down from the eye a little bit, just to kind of bring the bridge of his face out a little bit. I'm also going to add some shading down here on the side of his chest, so I can push these muscles out further. And if you have a really sharp edge like that, blend that out. Just go very lightly with this and create kind of a gradient, and it will just look a little bit better. And I want this leg to be farther back than this leg, so obviously I'm going to put some nice shadow to that leg. And I'm going to do the same thing here on the flank here. And you can see I'm kind of wrapping it around, going with the contour or the shape of the donkey's barrel. And you can even use your finger if you want to kind of blend that out a little bit. And then I'll add some nice dark shadowing to this back leg. And there's another car. And then I'm going to add a little bit of shadowing along the back end of the donkey. And maybe just kind of up at the top here, just to kind of make it look a little bit round. Alright, and then we'll add a little bit of ground for our donkey to be standing on, so he's not a magical flying donkey. I can fly! Look, Shrek, I'm a flying donkey. Add a little shadow underneath him. Maybe a little sparse greenage. Roughage for him to eat. There we go, we have our donkey. Well, thank you guys for joining me today in drawing this donkey. Please check out some of my other videos. I draw lots of different creatures, most of which you my viewers have requested. Also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss out on any future videos. And it's always so encouraging to me to get a thumbs up. So if you did like this video, let me know with a thumbs up. So thanks guys so much. We'll see you next time. God bless you. Bye-bye.